Hold one. Arm drag. Whoa! This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett screwed Brett.
Hold two. Arm bar.
Hey, get a nice shot of brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
So does Rule.
Yeah, they do.
Hold three. The moss-covered, three-handle family Gradunzo.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
And hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, coming at you live right now with the RCWR Post Show live on blogtalkradio.com and over at our sister website at infinityOneProductions.com. Matt, shout out to all of you that's checking out tonight's episode on September 16th, 2012, 1 minute past the 11 o'clock hour. Another solid pay-per-view coming from WWE as we had got the fifth installment of Night of Champions. It is that one time a year where every single WWE championship makes an appearance as it is on the line, as every single champion is defending it. No questions asked, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Definitely one of those favorite type of pay-per-views where if you have a particular star that you like to see, and we know there's a lot of you that's out there, you watch Raw, you watch SmackDown, you only see a select handful of superstars. This was definitely the pay-per-view for you to check out tonight as it had a little bit of something for everybody. Thank you all for checking out tonight's episode. Those of you that want to interact with us, as we're going to be getting all of you all's reactions, hopefully, to how you either liked or disliked tonight's pay-per-view, definitely take part. Let us know. We love that fan interaction. You can hit us up right now in our chat room that's loaded up right now on blogtalkradio.com. As we have a few people that are already in there. Mad shout out to those of you that's in there right now. Those of you that's guests checking it out, greatly appreciate it. Also, you can interact with us on Twitter at Infinity1Prod. We always interact with you guys on Twitter during the course of the show, so definitely feel free to hit us up on there. While you're at it, interact with us also on Facebook. You can like our page, actually befriend us on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. Now, I'm not doing this show alone tonight, as I have the lovely, the talented co-producer Tammy that's going to be riding shotgun with me. She's going to be the Iceman to my Maverick tonight, as later on in the show, we are going to be just randomly picking listeners. Hopefully it'll be loyal listeners at that have been checking out the show for a long period of time. We got a couple of prizes that we want to give away. I definitely know co-producer Tammy. She'll give you guys a little bit more details about that. It's going to come a little bit later on in the show. So make sure that you are looking out for when we put that number out there. That'll be your chance to call into the show, and hopefully you'll be able to grab a really cool prize. It's our way of giving back to you guys, the loyal listeners, as we are making our way to our 100th episode that's going to be coming up October 23rd. Man, just less than 3 weeks away. Co-producer Tammy, can you believe it already? It's already been almost 100 episodes.
Yeah, it's quite amazing to see it from the ground up and then to see it get to 100 episodes and going stronger than ever. And we thank you guys so much for the support.
We definitely do thank you guys for the support, and just a few more seconds of y'all's time before we go into tonight's pay-per-view. We definitely want to take this time out. Quick shout-out. Definitely can't be stressed enough. we definitely got to thank you, the listeners, as, man, Tammy, they made it be a very strong weekend as we were offering up our match predictions for WWE Night of Champions with the RCWR Call That Match special. You all have made that out of all the Call That Match specials that we have been doing for Blog Talk Radio, which hasn't been that many, as originally it was an exclusive to YouTube only, but we decided that we were going to bring it on live to you, the Blog Talk listeners. You all made that Call That Match special covering Night of Champions be our most downloaded, listened to Call That Match episode to date, and for that, we definitely want to thank you guys. And you've made this month be a very good month for the RCWR Show and Impact Showdown Radio. So tonight, like I said, we're going to be giving away a couple of cool prizes, our way of giving back, thanking you, the listeners, as we make our way to that 100th episode. We also have to take this time out to thank the staff of Blog Talk Radio very humbly, Tammy, as time and time again we have pitched to them, hey, look, we got to make sure that a voice is out there for wrestling, and it's not just, well, we want to try to get featured, you know, blah, 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 blah. No, we actually care about the product. We care about making sure that the wrestling promotions that you guys care about gets the proper spotlight that it gets, and we just have to thank the Blog Talk Radio staff as they are always gracious enough, as they receive plenty of people that want to try to get their episode or their show featured for that day, that weekend. They always show us love, and they is a voice for wrestling on Blog Talk Radio. And Tammy, I think to say thank you to Blog Talk is just really a understatement there. But it's all we can say is, thank you to the Blog Talk staff.
That's true. To be honest with you, that's pretty much, like you said, all we can really say. Besides, thank you again, and it's just been our honor to be able to give you a voice for the wrestling fans, and basically to promote and be able to give you guys the play-by-plays of what's happening out there, just in case you missed it.
Exactly, Tammy. And just in case you guys missed tonight's 5th installment of the WWE Night of Champions pay-per-view, man, Tammy, you and I, we were kicking back. We were watching this pay-per-view. I know you missed out on just a few precious minutes there. I think you had missed about maybe 15, 20 minutes. But overall, this was definitely a very solid pay-per-view. You really could not crap on this. It was definitely a very solid pay-per-view. It was in front of a white-hot crowd. As I always love to say, I love using that word, white-hot. That's just my thing. Boston, Massachusetts crowd, they were definitely into a lot of what was happening throughout the night at this pay-per-view. For those of you that were not able to see tonight's pay-per-view, as we came across quite a bit of you, and actually we ended up befriending a number of people on Twitter that unfortunately weren't able to order the pay-per-view. So whether you weren't able to order it because you were low on cash, or you were working, or you're with friends, have no fear. We got your hookup right now. Let's just jump right into it. And, of course, Tammy, we got to talk about what all had happened on that YouTube pre-show, which was definitely, out of all the pre-shows that we've seen over recent months, this definitely was probably one of the more polished off YouTube pre-shows to date, as the numbers just continue to climb, as it seems like WWE is really starting to fine-tune that pre-show for YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It seems like they're finally starting to find that niche on how they want for their viewers to actually feel invested into checking out this pre-show. And honestly, folks, why would you not want to watch the YouTube pre-show? You get to see a free match. It's live. You don't get to see that recycled 30-minute thing that comes on DirecTV, all the other cable providers that's out there. You get to see some live stuff in progress, backstage segments. You can't really go wrong with this, as tonight's pre-show was all about determining who was going to be the number one contender to face Antonio Cesaro later on in the night for his United States Championship. And this definitely was a very solid battle royal, as we got greeted by Matt Striker. I unfortunately do not know the other guy's name just yet. I've only seen him but a handful of times. Hopefully my memory can jog. For those of you that are in the chat room right now, if you were watching that YouTube pre-show and you know the guy that was commentating alongside Matt Striker, feel free to pitch his name out there to me. I promise I'll start remembering his name from here on out, but I've only seen him but a handful of times. I don't quite know his name yet. But that battle royal to determine the new number one contender to face Antonio Cesaro, here's your list of participants, folks, and these names were not revealed until the pre-show. It was Brodus Clay, Justin Gabriel, Primo, Epico, Tensai, Tyson Kidd, Michael McGillicuddy, Zack Ryder, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, Jinder Mahal, JTG. Little side note, man, I have not seen JTG in just so long. This guy has gotten really bigger since last I saw him. He just looks freaking phenomenal. I mean, this guy, it's hard to believe that he was a little scrawny little thing. David Parks, thank you, bro. What's the guy's name? Scott Stanford? Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't know JTG was still in the WWE. I know I saw him off and on there floating around on WWE Superstars. He made his presence felt on NXT a few times, but just goes to show you how much I watched those two shows, as I didn't even know this guy was still in the WWE, but he is looking phenomenally good. Why he is not on main WWE programming on a regular basis, I have no idea, but this guy looks really freaking amazing right here. Other names that we saw in this Battle Royal, we saw Drew McIntyre, we saw Ted DiBiase, Heath Slater, and Santino Marella. Now, we actually took the liberty of really making sure that we paid attention to this match for you guys as far as how the order of elimination had went in this Battle Royal, and it goes as followed, beginning with the first person eliminated down to the very last. We saw Heath Slater, followed by Michael McGillicuddy, Ted DiBiase, Primo, Jinder Mahal, Epico, Justin Gabriel, Tyson Kidd, Brodus Clay, JTG, Drew McIntyre, Santino Marella, Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, Lord Tensai. So, your winner from that 16-man Battle Royal would be none other than you know it, Zack Ryder, as at this point the total number of viewers watching the YouTube pre-show clocked in at 58,028. Tammy, very solid number right there. From there, we also saw a plug for WWE's new app, which is now available for Android, iPod, you name the device, you'll be able to play it. You definitely got to check out that app. It's a pretty badass app. I was fiddling around with that a couple of days ago. Love it. You can spend hours on that thing. There is so much content. It's ridiculous. Backstage segment now we go, as we see Josh Matthews is trying to get in a word with the WWE Champion CM Punk, but he has no luck, as it appears CM Punk is not in his locker room, or perhaps he's not answering the door. Paul Heyman comes to the scene, and Josh proceeds to ask Mr. Heyman if he could explain if he could possibly ask what is the WWE Champion's mentality going into his match tonight against the C-Nation leader, John Cena. And Paul Heyman, Tammy, just with that wits, his just ingenious mind, he just sits up and he says to Matt Striker, you did just ask, as he went into the CM Punk's locker room. As from there, a recap of CM Punk and John Cena's rivalry pretty much ends the Night of Champions YouTube pre-show. And I was looking at that, what Paul Heyman had said to Josh Matthews there, and I'm saying to myself, that's kind of like saying, hey, you're in the store and your daughter or your son, they're looking up at you and they're like, Daddy, 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 can I have some cereal? And it goes, I don't know, can you? You know, it's kind of like playing off of one of those type of lines, kind of. It's like, yeah, you did ask, you silly butt. And the YouTube pre-show had ended at 41,341. So you might as well give the average to about maybe 56,000. I think that's a respectable average. But the numbers, notice, they just keep seeming to climb up and up each month. Definitely not disappointed right there with the YouTube pre-show. WWE's been doing a phenomenal job. Co-producer Tammy, I know you had sat up, and you were actually a little bit surprised that there was a YouTube pre-show, because I guess you're still not quite used to the fact that there's a live pre-show and you get to see a live match.
Right, exactly. Actually, I thought to myself, okay, well, to be honest with you, I wasn't sure. I said, is this just kind of like that rehash, every 15 minutes, the same thing? But I was quite surprised, pleasantly, that, it was actually a really good match. And to bring that onto the YouTube circuit is actually really a good lead-in for WWE. Okay, so you want to, so we gave you a little taste. Now, do you want some more? Okay, you do? Oh, great. We'll go ahead and order the pay-per-view.
When I think back on it, I can remember almost 10, 15 years ago, I used to sit up and I used to be huddled with my friends around the television, and I can remember how there used to be that time. And I know you old-school WWE fans, you definitely remember this, especially if you are from that Attitude Era. You definitely remember how y'all used to sit up with your friends and you would gather around the TV, and you're like, man, should we order the pay-per-view? Not really sure, man. Well, let's turn on the free-for-all show and let's see what all is going to be happening again, because I can't really remember. And you used to sit there for 30 minutes, and you would basically just watch all the recycled storylines that were happening all those weeks leading up to the pay-per-view. It's all compiled in just a few minutes, and pretty much it's the hope that can get you to pick up that phone or press that remote control order button and secure purchasing the pay-per-view. Nowadays, I just love how they've taken it to another level, and it's something that I've been saying for years, and I'm glad that it finally came to fruition, which is, hey, we got the YouTube, we got the Facebook that's going on. WWE, they should really be utilizing this. They could really bring in a more stronger, broader audience, really expand it out there. It's definitely nice to see that they've just month after month, it seems like it's been a learning experience for them as they've sat up, and whatever wasn't fine-tuned the previous month, they just get on point the next month. Definitely can't give the way they've been handling their pre-show great praise. Definitely they are the granddaddy as they've laid out the blueprint for other wrestling promotions to follow, as that's the formula. That's the way you want to execute doing a pre-show to try to pull in more pay-per-view buy rates. As from there, folks, it's officially now time to get you guys caught up on the official Night of Champions pay-per-view. And if you did not see the pay-per-view, you missed a really great video opening package that was just showcasing all the champions defending their titles throughout the years, and it just blended so perfectly into CM Punk as you just really walked away from tonight's pay-per-view after seeing the video package saying this might be a CM Punk night, because he was just dominating in the video intro. As for him, it's not just about being the WWE champion. It is about respect. It is about the type of respect that he feels he has not been getting since he's been the WWE champion this go round. And definitely very strong opener right there. As from there, folks, we're greeted by Michael Cole, who tells us that, hey, Jerry Lawler update, and in case for those of you that might have missed it, Jerry Lawler, he unfortunately had a heart attack on live TV this past Monday night on Raw as they were in Montreal, Quebec. And Tammy, clinically, Jerry Lawler was dead for 15 minutes, and somebody was looking out for Jerry Lawler because, as later we would understand it, Jerry Lawler was clinically dead for 15 minutes as they paddled him not once, not twice, not even 3 times. They paddled him 7 times. And on that 7th time, they were finally lucky. They were able to get that heartbeat back up and rolling, and he was sent to the nearest hospital out there. And Michael Cole was updating us on how he's expected to have a full recovery, how he's been talking to him all throughout the week, and he's been very active, cracking jokes, all that. And you're saying to yourself when you hear that, you're like, yes, it's really good to hear that Jerry Lawler is doing a phenomenal job. And, folks, if you have missed the way that we had covered Jerry Lawler on this past Tuesday night's Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR Show, you definitely want to check that out. While you're at it, backtrack, check out Impact Showdown Radio from this past Thursday night as we were talking to wrestler Justin Reno, who is hopefully on his way to becoming a new TNA wrestler. He had sat up and he was talking with us as he was getting ready to have a match with Jerry the King Lawler's cousin, Honky Tonk Man, and he had shared his thoughts on what all had happened with Jerry Lawler. It was really great, 2 solid episodes this past week. Definitely check it out. But Tammy, it was really nice hearing that Michael Cole, giving us that update on Jerry Lawler. Very good news to hear. As you couldn't help but notice, Michael Cole is sitting alone. And Michael Cole would say, I'm not going to be doing this tonight solo, as making his return, and he would get interrupted as we would get graced by the wrestling god himself, the return of JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. And I know, Tammy, there were a lot of people that had sat up. It was almost 50-50. We had people that sat up and they weren't really sure who JBL was, but then we had people also sit up because since they didn't know who he was, they bashed him for his commentating. I was a little bit shocked to hear this. They actually bashed him for his commentating. Some people would say that he just kind of seemed a little bit out of his element. I know JBL was a little bit before your time, but I definitely would like for you to just speak from that fresh set of eyes and ears listening to JBL for the very first time as you were listening to his commentating throughout the night. How did you feel he did?
Well, with that being the first time is for me to see him, I actually felt that he complimented Michael Cole very well. He seemed knowledgeable. He seemed somewhat enthusiastic about the product, and really making his point and really making valid points throughout the night with, each match, and just seeming very in tune with everything, even though he hasn't been commentating, for the last little bit, or ever, but he really brought it home. He really sounded informative, and he really, what I felt, complimented Michael Cole quite well.
He really did, and folks, I definitely thought co-producer Tammy should shed in her thoughts on JBL because, like I said, JBL was definitely, I'm talking a couple of years before her time, because for those of you that remember JBL from his first go-round as commentator, it was back in 2006 to 2007 that he was a SmackDown commentator right after Taz had left for TNA Wrestling, and he had did just such a great, solid job back then. It was a little bit shocking when he had left as he wanted to return to in-ring action, which wouldn't last too long. But, yeah, I was looking at JBL, for me personally, and just thinking back to how he was as an in-ring performer, and then I'm thinking back to how he was as a commentator, a color commentator. To me, this was a welcome breath of fresh air. I loved it. He did compliment Michael Cole very well. I actually felt invested into what it was I was seeing in the ring. I loved the psychology. I love how JBL was giving us those backgrounds of all the wrestlers, as for a guy that has not been on WWE programming in such a long period of time, he really came off as if he had been watching, like, faithfully all this time, and he just knew everything that was going on. And I was just really amazed. He was definitely a welcome back breath of fresh air, but JBL would give a personal message to Jerry Lawler, say, hey, I'm just keeping this seat warm for you. It's going to be on fire when you come back. Hope you have a speedy recovery. Nice little opening right there. As our first match of the evening, folks, we had got to see the Intercontinental Championship on the line as The Miz put it up against Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, Sin Cara in a fatal four-way. Miz opening it up. He does not like the fact that he has to defend his championship against three other guys, just making a whole big fuss about it. Hey, it happens. You got to deal with it here and now. Great contest right here. Tammy, as I was watching this match, I'm saying to myself, Lord, we got Sin Cara in this match. Hopefully Sin Cara will be on point, because I have had such reservations for Sin Cara within recent weeks. It's not funny. For those of you that might have not heard, Sin Cara, his match against The Miz on this past Friday night SmackDown, it was heavily edited. It was to a point that you obviously could not miss it, not unless you were doing some house chore work or you left the TV on and you just went to go do something for a few minutes. His SmackDown match was heavily edited as he just kept botching. And so you're sitting up and you're saying to yourself, Sin Cara, man, out of all the names that you're looking at, you know Miz is going to bring it. You know Cody Rhodes is going to bring it. Rey Mysterio might be banged up. He might be plagued with injuries, but you know he's going to do his best to bring it. Sin Cara, you're saying to yourself, this guy is dangerous. He could hurt the other people in the ring. I don't know. And you're just crossing your fingers and you're saying to yourself, God, please, I hope Sin Cara doesn't botch. It's going to be on live pay-per-view. It's going to make the match look really bad if he botches. But luckily, we didn't really see too much of Sin Cara doing his thing. And the other thing I noticed, Tammy, during this match, this was probably one of the rarest times that we saw Sin Cara in a match where, you ain't getting no Teddy Pendergrass tonight, Sin Cara. Ain't no turn off the lights. No, those lights were bright on for you, brother, because we need to see what the heck is going on in that ring. You know, but match-wise, this was definitely pretty awesome. As actually, surprisingly, shockingly, we had saw The Miz retain in great fashion. It looked as if Miz was probably going to lose it there, but in the end, he was able to pick up the victory. I know it got kind of critical and a little crazy there when Sin Cara had tried to put a Sin Cara mask on him, since Cody Rhodes, Miz, they've been kind of infatuated with masks, more so Cody Rhodes. Miz, he's just doing his own thing, but in either case, we saw poor Miz wearing a Sin Cara mask. He just did the, I can't even think of his finisher right now, but I believe he did it to Cody Rhodes, and he was able to pick up the victory that way, disoriented, wearing a mask and all. Freaking hilarious right there. Next up on the match, folks, let's get you guys caught up here. As from there, we saw a backstage skit with Titus O'Neil, Darren Young complaining about the fact that they are not going to be involved in the tag team championship match, as they felt that they rightfully had earned that right and that they had no business being involved in that battle royal for the United States contender spot. They're complaining to Eve. And then from there, a WWE official quickly injects himself into their conversation, tells Eve that she needs to come with him as they go, and we see poor Kaitlyn, poor Miss Little, blonde, cute little Kaitlyn is just on the floor. She's holding her knee. Apparently somebody wearing a mask. They hit her in the knee, and Eve, she's not really sure what to make of what happened, but her, as well as that WWE official, they grab her and they try to take her to a training room so a doctor can take a look at her knee. Tammy, I'm looking at this and I'm just laughing my butt off. I'm saying to myself, this is just like Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. I'm like, really? She's just sitting there, my knee. I'm like, really? This is how we're going to squash this, really? Because I know for us, and if you were listening to our Call That Match special, I said, Kaitlyn, I just don't see her being a Divas champion. So definitely I was in euphoria when I saw her taken out of the equation. But now the question becomes, well, what's going to happen with the Divas championship match? Does this mean that the championship is off the hook tonight? It won't be defended? Well, we would see Teddy Long talking with Booker T later on in the night as they're talking about possibly what to do about the match, as Eve informs them that Kaitlyn, her knee's just really messed up. It looks like there's no way there's possibly going to be a match. Booker T, he doesn't like the sound of this, as Teddy Long points out, hey, Booker, we definitely need a match. Every single championship needs to be on the line tonight. We got to do something here. Booker T, he thinks about it, and he realizes that Eve actually had picked up a win over Kaitlyn a couple of weeks back, and she has also been doing a pretty superb job for Booker T as of late, and he decides to award her with that covenant spot to face Layla for the Divas Championship. Was I the only one that had noticed within recent weeks, definitely tonight, how every single time Eve gets around Booker T, how bug-eyed Booker T's eyes get? I mean, he just has this look on his face like, that woman sure do look good, sucker. I mean, he just has this Tammy, I don't know if you've been picking it up, but he just makes these weird facial expressions when he sees Eve. It's kind of like he wants to maybe do something with her. I don't know if maybe he is doing something with her, because I know at one point there when he awarded Eve with that spot to face Layla and she just disappeared, him and Booker T are continuing to talk. Booker T kind of ran off there like he had to go to the John or something.
Well, first of all, I can't imagine Booker T's eyes being any bigger than they already are. But to a point, you actually hear of assistants and their bosses' romances or hookups or whatever you want to call them. Haven't heard anything that implies that, but, actions do speak louder than words.
I don't know. I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, if in fact Booker is doing something with Eve, that's going to be some really great storytelling right there. Because, I mean, on the one hand, the first thing I'm thinking to myself, okay, this will be the second time that WWE within recent months has pulled a interracial card. Because remember, last go-round, it was Teddy Long and Ascana. So if it is going to go that route, this is going to be the second time now that we're going to be seeing this. But if it is also going to go that route, might we possibly see the return of Booker T's wife, Sharmell, who, in my eyes, is the original Karen Jarrett, the original Vicky Guerrero? That sister knows how to really work a crowd. And for those of you that don't believe me, next time you get a free moment, go hop up on YouTube. Some of her best work was with Booker T when he was pushing the whole King Booker gimmick. she was really selling the hell out of that. I was definitely loving that. But for that Divas Championship match, folks, we would see Eve take on Layla. Tammy, I know you and me, we were watching this, and we're saying to ourselves, man, the way that they are screaming and yelling, it sounds like that cat mating video that has just become a overnight sensation on YouTube. For those of you that are not sure what we're talking about, you want to hop on YouTube right after you're done listening to this, or as you're listening to this, hop on YouTube, type in cat mating go raw. You're going to see an orange tabby just on top of this dark cat, and it's hilarious. That's all I got to say. You want to make sure you crank the volume up pretty loud. It's very hilarious. You won't be disappointed. But, Tammy, I know you and me were looking at this match, and we're like, wow, this is like cat mating gone wrong, because they're just, it's just like, shut up, wrestle. It's not tennis. There's no reason to be doing all these obnoxious screams. Just wrestle. And I know the crowd, they were not really into this match. They were pretty quiet. And it was one of those almost eerie type of quiets that you're like, okay, hurry up, let's see this end. Let's see this end already. And it would, as we just saw Eve pretty much dominate the heck out of Layla. And she just commanded from the opening of the bell. And Eve would become the new WWE Divas Champion. Tammy, your thoughts on Eve becoming the new Divas Champion? Do you think that maybe it was done a little bit too soon? Do you think the timing couldn't have been more right than what happened tonight?
Well, for that match, I definitely would say that it was better than most that I've seen. Eve actually did a decent job in doing the match and also getting the title, but Layla was a little weak, in my opinion. The only thing is once Eve, once now and that she has the title, where do you go from there? At this point, because there's really nobody out there that kind of even comes close to what her abilities are as a Divas champion.
I'll tell you where you go. That's a very valid point. I'll tell you where you go. And I was really thinking about this when I saw this. And, folks, I definitely think you can appreciate what I'm getting ready to say right here. I think that what's happening with Eve, her becoming Divas champion tonight, I think it's a real blessing in disguise, because I think we all can be in agreement, even for you all that don't really particularly pay too much attention to the Divas matches. I definitely think you would even agree that Layla as a Divas champion, she really has not been relevant. She has not been doing that title justice. She has not been a good representation of that Divas division. I've said it time and time again, and I will continue to say it. I will be out there walking down the street, beating that drum, leading the parade when I say that Layla has not been the same since she broke away with Michelle McCool and she had that injury. She just seems like a completely different person. Bad enough she does not look similar to the Layla that we first came across physically that won the Diva Search contest, as her appearance has just dramatically changed over the years. Cosmetic surgery, who knows? But, she just has not been the same since she's returned. And so you're already hearing the stories about Triple H, how he would love to just kill the Divas division. I'm looking at what happened with Eve becoming the Divas champion tonight, and folks, I got to be brutally honest with you. This could very well be one of the last significant Diva storylines. This could be that final, okay, can Eve possibly make the Divas division relevant again? Because she holds the SmackDown GM title. She now holds the Divas title. Okay, now we have that whole storyline that's going on about her possibly being fake, when she's trying to give compliments, when she's trying to come off being sincere. Then we have that other storyline with, well, what happened with Kaitlyn? Who attacked Kaitlyn? We got so much great storylines that's going on in there in the Divas division. If it's done properly, fans can actually feel invested into the Divas division again. Eve, hands down, great wrestler, no doubt about it. I definitely would love to see her work programs with Beth Phoenix, Natalya, Tamina. Hell, if done properly, you can even set up a major angle with AJ Lee if you do it properly. So there's definitely some life in there. How it's going to play out, not really sure, but in my eyes, it definitely looks like that Divas division has one last little hoorah that they can just kind of break through to kind of make the Divas division stay around. Now is the time more than ever to prove to Triple H higher-ups that, hey, the Divas division, it does need to stay. It just needs to be fine-tuned a little bit, folks. As moving from there, folks, let's get you guys caught up on what else had happened on tonight's pay-per-view. As we had saw the WWE Tag Team Championships be defended as R-Truth, Kofi Kingston. They put them on the line against the white-hot new team of Daniel Bryan and Kane. And, folks, if you are a Daniel Bryan, Kane fan, you will definitely be in euphoria to know, in case you did not see the pay-per-view, that Daniel Bryan and Kane, they were able to beat the primetime players. That'll come eventually. I'm jumping ahead of the script here. They were able to beat Kofi Kingston and R-Truth. And, you know, Tammy, it was one of those things that we have been paying attention to within recent weeks, where we see R-Truth, we see Kofi Kingston. They really just are not doing anything as the tag champions. I know I've said my piece on that, but I definitely would like to get your perspective on seeing R-Truth, Kofi Kingston lose those titles to Daniel Bryan, Kane, and possibly maybe what you would like to maybe see next happen for Truth and Kingston.
Well, honestly, I think it might be somewhat of a time to make them go back into singles. They haven't been that force, or maybe a little less of the new kid on the block as the tag team champions, and they've kind of gotten to a stalemate. I would actually like to see them go back to singles, and maybe, like we were talking about not too terrible long ago, is, we've actually never seen Kofi go heel. I actually think that would be a very interesting angle. He actually has a great talent, and we already know that Truth can, go heel. I mean, he's actually not even he's a heel, but he's also crazy. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be a really good thing for them. If they continue to be in the same position as a tag team people, then, where do you go? You go back to try to get your titles back, and between Kane and Daniel Bryan, with them being so white hot at this point, they're, honestly unstoppable right now with the whole angle that they're going, and it's actually fun and innovative.
It is innovative, it is. And folks, it just made perfect sense for the tag belts to be put on Daniel Bryan, Kane. They're such a phenomenal team right now. The duo, they have just such great chemistry. As post-match, we saw them in a backstage segment, and they both are just chanting real loud, "I am the tag team champion." And we see Kane, "Oh, I'm the tag team champion." And they just kept going back and forth like that. Tammy, I'm sitting up, I'm looking at this, I'm saying to myself, okay, all we need right now is Freddie Mercury and Queen just to pop up behind them and go, "Of the world," and just sing the little song there. And we saw Dr. Shelley, who's been doing a phenomenal job working with these two guys in recent weeks. We saw AJ Lee. They're trying to have those two guys calm down and try to get on the same page, as we see Daniel Bryan try to extend a handshake out there to Kane. Kane, he doesn't accept. He walks off. Daniel Bryan, he's like, you see, that's why I'm the tag team champion. And then Kane just comes out of nowhere, and he just pours Gatorade on Daniel Bryan, and he says, I'm so happy I'm going to go to Disneyland.
Well, at this point, they're already wondering, they're already saying that my ball is bigger than yours.
No, let's really get that right. Let's set that up right. We know what Dr. Shelley said to those guys on SmackDown. He said, squeeze your balls. That's what he said. He said squeeze your balls. Well, then
my ball is bigger. No, mine is bigger. So, yeah, we pretty much know that they both have their own egos on that one.
They do. Seeing those two guys on SmackDown with that little skit, for you guys that like that metal band System of a Down, you all know the song that I'm talking about. It kind of reminds me of that one song from them. Mine is much bigger than yours. Mine can go right through the door. Y'all know the song I'm talking about if you're a System of a Down. That's what it kind of reminded me of when I was looking at that little skit right there. Definitely was some hilarious, solid stuff right there. Definitely the right move that should have been done. I think they are just very intriguing right now. They're very captivating. And let's be honest, that tag team division, it needs a, punch to the stomach right now. And I think Daniel Bryan and Kane, with them being the tag team champions, I definitely feel that they can actually make that tag team division worth watching. I think they can make it very entertaining again, as, let's not forget, this is Triple H's second biggest pet project right now. He wants to make that tag team division very relevant again, like it was back in the 80s. So definitely Triple H and crew, they are going in that right direction to make it be relevant again. I definitely cannot see what all is going to be in store for the tag team of Kane and Daniel Bryan. Next match on the card, folks, we had got to see Antonio Cesaro defend his United States Championship against Zack Ryder. As Zack Ryder was that winner from that Battle Royal, we would see Antonio Cesaro with an impressive title defense right here, as he would successfully retain. Tammy, your thoughts on Antonio Cesaro? I know you've been kind of watching him a little bit off and on there. How have you been liking his progression so far in the WWE?
Well, he's definitely making his presence be felt. And to actually take on Zack Ryder, who is, in recent times that I've seen him, looking like actually a wrestler. Before he just looked like a face. Now he really looks like somebody who is a contender, not just somebody who's in the ring. So I feel that he actually had a decent match. Actually, they both did. Had a decent match and is actually entertaining to watch. So he's really bringing that A game and taking it to the next level with each week.
Yeah, each week he is just getting more fine-tuned with that character, and I know we were talking before we had came on the air, and, I just love the fact that he has Ascana. I was just thinking to myself, how badass would that be to just be walking down the street, and you could just be holding a microphone, and you could just be like, Lee is, we could be in a McDonald's or something, and you just say, Lee is not satisfied with his order. In 5 words, Lee will explain his frustration. Bullshit. In Spanish. In Russian. I could just go through. That would be kind of cool. I mean, can you guys just, for you fellas out there, can you just picture that? Just picture your girlfriend or your wife. They're holding a microphone, and you're just, walking down the street. You're going to your job, and that would just be pretty wicked. Just have somebody just hold a mic. And Tammy, you and me were really making fun of Ascana here, because we're sitting up, we're saying to ourselves, this girl is getting paid to follow this guy from country to country, city to city. Antonio will now express the word blah, blah, blah in 5 different languages. And her job is pretty much done. I mean, she went from smooching up to Teddy Long, always having that wicked music playing in the background every single time she was popping up. And then, you know, she had that angle going on, but then she goes to holding a microphone for a guy, and she's still getting buku's money. That's got to be, like, the second best thing than Hornswoggle.
Well, she's definitely getting paid just to look pretty and follow the testosterone around, because to that of what you said about the McDonald's, yeah, that's absolutely testosterone.
Definitely was awesome right there. Antonio was all right. I can't give the guy enough praise. He's definitely been coming along very well within recent weeks. You know, one thing that really jumped out there at me, you know, remind me to bring it up again, because there was one name that was missing from this pay-per-view tonight. I definitely would have loved to have seen him. Tammy, definitely remind me before we take a commercial break. Make sure I bring that name up, as I definitely felt he should have been on tonight's pay-per-view. Next matchup, we had Dolph Ziggler taking on Randy Orton. For me right here, this is where things really started to pick up, as these two guys, they really brought us a fantastic match right here. This was definitely a really great encounter. These guys, in my opinion, other than the CM Punk versus John Cena match, this match definitely was a show stealer for the night. These guys, they just looked so damn good in the ring working together. I was just really loving the storytelling that was happening in this match. You definitely couldn't be disappointed with this, as we saw Randy Orton come up with the victory over Dolph Ziggler to basically do first strike. And Tammy, you're kind of saying to yourself, man, if WWE is really smart here, they'll definitely will continue this rivalry, because these two guys, they definitely got that right chemistry going on there. How did you enjoy this match?
Well, I think that I certainly enjoyed the match. I enjoyed seeing both of them really just giving it their all. And the crowd was just as into it as everybody else, because at each kick, at each blow, at each whichever, you could hear the crowd go back and forth just like they were in the ring with them, which was awesome. But
it was awesome, and it was bizarro, too. Go ahead.
Right. For that, I felt that it was a really great matchup, and do think that it should continue. You know, if you could get rid of Vicky, that would be great, because I find her annoying. But, you know, different strokes for different folks. But I was looking for him to cash in the Money in the Bank case, but he actually kind of got knocked out before that could possibly even be a case.
Yeah. For those of you that thought maybe tonight was going to be the night that Dolph Ziggler cashed in that briefcase, no mas. It did not happen tonight. I don't know why, but somebody had spreaded this weird rumor that Ziggler was going to cash in the briefcase tonight. Now, it wouldn't surprise us if maybe a couple of days later we might hear something official that WWE management, they were strongly considering putting the belt on Ziggler, or that maybe he was going to cash in the briefcase tonight. But no Dolph Ziggler. As next up, and I just loved how the last two matches ended the pay-per-view, Tammy. We were talking about this literally right before we came off the air. For those of you that were paying attention to the order of the pay-per-view that saw it, you definitely could not complain, because this was a really great order. It wasn't, oh, no, it's the World Heavyweight Championship match kicking off the pay-per-view first. No, it would end on the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Championship, which brings us to the next match for the third consecutive month, for the third consecutive time, people. Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship. If you need a brain refresher, we got you. Money in the Bank, Part 1. Okay? WWE SummerSlam. That was part 2. Part 3 was tonight. You're sitting up, you're saying to yourself, man, what could possibly happen here? Hopefully you were saying that. Now, I know there was a lot of people that were like, well, maybe Alberto Del Rio can walk away with the World Heavyweight Championship since the bro kick has been banned and Sheamus has to do all this other crazy stuff to pull out a victory as he's just been busting out a new arsenal of moves. You're saying to yourself, maybe it might be Alberto Del Rio's night, especially since it seems like he has a nice little stable going on there. He's got Ricardo Rodriguez, he's got David Otunga, and he pretty much has Booker T in his back pocket as Booker T says, hey, the bro kick is banned until my investigation is complete. As in a backstage skit right before the match came about, we actually saw Ricardo Rodriguez come in without wearing his neck brace, and Otunga and Del Rio, they are letting him have it. They're like, hey, why aren't you wearing your neck brace? Ricardo says, hey, I'm actually feeling a bit better. I guess the bro kick wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And they were like, no, we need to continue to sell the damage of the bro kick. How stupid can you be? You need to put that back on. You know, even if my neck was feeling 100% better, I'm not going to take off the neck brace. And they were just really bashing the heck out of Ricardo. Well, before the match would start, folks, SmackDown General Manager Booker T, he would come down and he would pretty much give his official ruling on that bro kick, saying, hey, I've decided that as devastating as that move is, we need to go on ahead and, you know, it's reinstated, because nobody said that being a WWE wrestler was going to be all fancy, that it wasn't going to be pretty. It all comes with the territory. So the bro kick is reinstated, and Tammy, we pretty much got an idea of Sheamus' mentality after he heard that. It was like Ralph in A Christmas Story when he finally got his hands on that Red Ryder BB gun. I mean, he was just fixated on delivering the bro kick to Alberto Del Rio, and Del Rio, he tried his damnedest throughout the whole match. He was scouting it, he was peeping it out. In the end, Alberto Del Rio, for I believe the third time now, he got another devastating bro kick. Sheamus definitely was able to pick up the victory right here. Now the question becomes, and I'm going to throw this at you, I'm also going to throw this question to those of you that are in the chat room right now, because we want to hear from you all as we're on this subject. What is next for Sheamus? What is next for Alberto Del Rio? Tammy, go ahead, take that.
Well, you definitely are asking yourself at this point, okay, do we really go for a fourth match? You know, I mean, after the third one, and there's basically the same end result, you're going, okay, what the heck? I mean, I understand that, you know, it was a great match. They both gave it their all and really sold it. But at this point, where do you really go from where you've already been? But then again, you kind of are thinking, okay, who really is out there for them to really sell and work with? I mean, unless you're going to kind of give them, you know, an extra kind of piece of the puzzle to where it's a new version or something like that, it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like old news.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you really think about it, don't get me wrong. Sheamus, Del Rio, looking back on it, definitely what was needed during the summer. They definitely were on the money right there. But you really got to, and that's the thing, Tammy, unfortunately, we have to face right now. It doesn't appear as if there has been an official bookend to the Sheamus-Del Rio rivalry. You know, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, it would not surprise me if Alberto Del Rio pulled out a Christian and said one more match, as I'm picturing it in my head. Okay, the stipulations need to be set then. Maybe Booker T, you know, I'm looking at it from two perspectives here. I'm saying to myself, Del Rio could try to jockey himself for one more match, and we could possibly see SmackDown Booker T say, look, you can get one more match, but this is it. If you are not going to be able to get the job done at the next pay-per-view, that's it. You don't get any more shots, so as long as Sheamus is the World Heavyweight Champion, this is it. So now you kind of go into the next pay-per-view saying, okay, it's put up, shut up time. Either Del Rio is going to get it done or he's not. But if you do it one-on-one, I just don't see how you can make that be another singles match. You have to make that be a gimmick match. You either got to have that contest be in a steel cage, a ladder match, TLC. You got to do something to really spice it up and make it seem as if the odds are just really stacked against the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, some would sit up and say, hey, maybe Randy Orton is next. Some would say maybe Wade Barrett should be next. Definitely going to be very interesting to see how SmackDown comes about within the next few weeks right here. But I know personally it just kind of seems as if this whole Alberto Del Rio Sheamus angle isn't quite over. I would not be too surprised if we see these two guys get it on again in some type of a gimmick match, or it becomes a triple threat match and we get one new added ingredient in there. Maybe it could be Sheamus versus Orton versus Del Rio.
Mm-hmm. Or do a fatal four-way and do Ziggler, Orton, Sheamus, and Del Rio.
And I agree with our good friend David, who's in the chat room right now. He said 3 strikes, you're out, Del Rio. Definitely agree with him right there. Let's move on along now. We got that one last match, and we just want to quickly run that down, give you the overall takeaway, as we still have plenty of showtime left. We got like about a half hour, but we pretty much want to just dedicate that to opening up the phone lines, giving away some cool prizes. So, Tammy, let's just quickly run down this last match here. WWE Champion CM Punk defending the title against John Cena in front of John Cena's hometown crowd, in front of his friends, in front of his family. A lot of history right here, as surprisingly now, when it comes to Night of Champions, CM Punk had never won a match, as his record is 0-3. For those of you that like a little trivia here, first up, he had lost to Jeff Hardy in 2009. That would be followed up by The Big Show. And then the year after that, which was last year, he lost to Triple H. So definitely this pay-per-view has not been that kind to the WWE Champion, who surprisingly surpassed Pedro Morales, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, for longest reigning championships, WWE championships. I mean, that's freaking impressive right there. I know we were looking at the list right before we came online, and we were like, yeah, as a matter of fact, he is up there. He is now holding, if I'm not mistaken, the number 5 spot for longest title reigns. I mean, that is just freaking impressive right here. A lot going into this, as we saw a really great match between these two guys. They just really threw it down. This match actually ended with controversy, folks. Let's just pick it up at the very end here, as throughout the match, both of these guys, they were just dishing out finishers on each other. And it was like, what do these two guys have to do? What do they have to do to get the victory? And you're saying to yourself, one of them has to really dig down deep, do something that they've never done before. They got to do the unthinkable. Well, that was kind of the case, as the fight had ended up going to a top turnbuckle, and we see CM Punk, I'm not sure what he was trying to do, but we see John Cena, he comes up from behind, and you're thinking to yourself, maybe John Cena is going to try to do a attitude adjustment from the top of the ropes there. Not the case, as eventually we saw John Cena do a German suplex, something I have rarely said since we've been doing the show, Tammy. I've never said John Cena German suplex in the same sentence, but that's exactly what we saw right here, as the ref counted 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at this, and as soon as the hand goes 3, and the crowd erupts. Just right there, my instincts kicked in, and you were actually, we were talking. I said, this match, no, Punk's got the belt. And I know you were like, huh? Like, he's got the belt. Just watch. And sure enough, it turns out the referee would take away the WWE Championship from John Cena, who thought he won it, and give the belt to CM Punk. So you're saying to yourself, what the heck just happened right here? Well, it turns out both men's shoulders were on the mat at the same time, and the ref counted 3. Nobody won. It was a draw. And as you know, in the event of a draw, the championship remains with the WWE champion. So in this case, CM Punk still got to keep the belt. Post-match is where it got funny, though, because we see CM Punk, Paul Heyman at ringside. CM Punk attacks John Cena from the back with that title. And the pay-per-view pretty much ended with CM Punk yelling, respect. And that pretty much ended Night of Champions. Tammy, I definitely want to get your takeaway from tonight's pay-per-view.
Well, overall, I found that it was really a decent pay-per-view. There was actually a lot more wrestling, and not as much talk. Not as much, just what I kind of consider to be just a bit of fillers, and actually decent wrestling. So I honestly think I would give it at least an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at this pay-per-view myself, and I definitely was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, 8 out of 10, you couldn't really go wrong there. I know one guy that we were interacting with, he said, hey, what about the, he said, what about the Intercontinental, not the Intercontinental, he said, what about the Internet Championship? Does this mean that will be on the line, too, at tonight's pay-per-view? And we retorted him. We said, well, would that mean that the Jerk of the Month title should be on the line as well? And as you all know, the Jerk of the Month, that's pretty much in the WWE magazine there, so you can't really, defend that exactly. But, one name that kind of jumped out there, and I just want to go ahead, say this name, and we'll go ahead, we'll take a brief commercial break, come back, we'll open up the fan lines, and we'll just randomly pick some people, give away some prizes. Damien Sandow. I love Damien Sandow, and I just kind of walked away from this pay-per-view. I would have felt a little bit more satisfied if I would have seen Damien Sandow come out and maybe have a match or maybe see him cut a promo, or where was Wade Barrett? It would have been nice to maybe see him come out and maybe he could have cut a promo too. I just kind of felt like certain people should have popped up at this pay-per-view. I understand that it's all about the championships, but, you're going to have Randy Orton versus Ziggler. You could have definitely did a few more fillers in there. But, overall, yeah, definitely a very solid pay-per-view from WWE this month. I definitely was not disappointed. Can only imagine what's going to happen Monday night, as if I'm not mistaken, WWE, they should still be in Boston, Massachusetts, or somewhere close to the proximity, so should definitely be a pretty solid episode of WWE Raw. Definitely, I'll give it an 8 out of 10 as well. Definitely a very solid pay-per-view. If you were not able to check it out on pay-per-view, hey, if it's pay week this week for you guys, definitely want to take that time out, order it when you can. Definitely check it out when it comes out on DVD. Add it to your wrestling DVD collection. We're going to go on ahead. We're going to take a very brief commercial break right now, but then when we come right back, we'll definitely open up the phone lines, get you all's reactions to the pay-per-view, and we'll just randomly pick some loyal listeners, give away some cool prizes, our way of giving back as we make our way to that 100th episode. So we're going to go on ahead, and we are going to take that brief commercial break. We'll be coming right back, folks. Do hang tight.
Fold 1. Arm drag. Whoa! This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett screwed Brett.
Fold 2. Arm bar.
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your T-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C-Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Sodas rule.
Yeah, they do.
Hole 3, the Moss Hubbard, 3-handle family Gradunzel.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
All right, and we're back. We told you it was going to be a very brief commercial break there. We definitely wanted to make sure we dedicated enough time to you that had saw tonight's pay-per-view, the chance to sit up and interact with us, let us know how you liked or disliked the pay-per-view. So feel free to kick on back, smile and dial. You can call us right now at 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. Just listen for the prompts to get yourself live on the air, and we'll definitely take your call that way, as we definitely want to hear from you all, get you all's reaction to tonight's pay-per-view. Of course, you can always interact with us on Twitter as well, and we actually have a Twitter poll up right now at our website at InfinityOneProductions.com, where we're asking you that saw the pay-per-view, how would you rate the pay-per-view? So definitely let your voices be heard and vote, and we'll definitely try to share the results with you all. We'll see if we have enough results. We'll definitely share it with you all tomorrow night. As programming note, the RCWR Show is going to be making a rare Monday night appearance immediately following WWE Raw. That's going to be coming this Monday in just a handful of hours, folks. We're going to make a rare Monday night appearance. It'll be your opportunity to interact with us fresh off of a new episode of WWE Raw. You'll be able to check it out immediately after Raw, so make sure that you're able to join us. 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific, live on blogtalkradio.com and over at our sister website at InfinityOneProductions.com. It's our way of giving back to you, the listeners, as we make our way to that 100th episode. All right, so let's go on ahead, Tammy, and let's open up the chat line here. And for all of you that call into the show, especially first-time callers, we'll definitely show you some love. Right now, let's go to our good friend Dave from the Michigan area. Dave, loyal listener, you're live on the air, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good, bro. How you doing?
Not too bad. I mean, pretty good pay-per-view. It's kind of weird with Cole doing a face turn, like, whoa, all of a sudden he's the good guy announcer again. And it was so refreshing to actually have them actually talk about the wrestling and, like, still giving background stories, how Sin Cara was a former Mexican world champion and all that.
Yeah, very, very solid indeed. Yeah, they definitely did a good job tonight.
I hope he stays, actually. Really, I mean, I know all of us love the King and everything, but I think he actually did a better job than I've seen the King do, like, the last few months that he's really, last year, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know one of the things that they're having a hard time with right now, and it's Kevin Dunn, the executive producer there, Vince McMahon's right-hand man. He's pretty ticked off about always not being able to find somebody consistent for the SmackDown commentating. So yeah. I definitely would think that all eyes should be on JBL right now, because if they really are serious about trying to find somebody permanent for that SmackDown spot, I don't really think they need to look any further than JBL. I mean, JBL, Michael Cole on SmackDown, that'd be a nice combination.
Or just Raw and have Matt Striker and Matthews do SmackDown.
Oh, you know you got to put Jerry Lawler in there eventually.
Well, it depends. They could also use this as a way of getting Lawler out of there, really. I don't want to see that, but they could.
Yeah.
They did it with Jim Ross. It seems like they did it when he got sick again for the second time. It seemed like they got found out to get rid of him and use him as a scout or an agent.
Yeah, that's a good point. They could phase him out, yeah.
I hate to see that, but it just seems like they could go that way.
Yeah, yeah. So how'd you like tonight's pay-per-view?
It was good. I mean, sometimes it just seems like that Orton and Ziggler match was good, but Orton just can put you to sleep sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole Del Rio thing, I mean, I do not want to see a rematch on that again. It's like, please, no.
Right.
But I was surprised. I mean, I was happy about the Daniel Bryan Kane thing because I was talking to people today. I'm like, if they would just give Kane and Daniel Bryan the titles, I mean, there's so much they could do with that. I mean, you give them something to do. And it seems like they're really focused on giving Daniel Bryan and Kane spot and segments on Raw and SmackDown. And so you make them the tag champions. They can feud with Kofi and R-Truth at the next pay-per-view, primetime players, the Usos. I mean, they could just do so much with these teams.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Definitely. Tammy, you want to chime in on that? You definitely agree with what Dave's saying?
I do. I don't, to a point as far as the tag team, some of the tag teams, yeah, they could absolutely do a lot more with the people that they have on their roster. As far as Lawler, I really don't think that they're going to phase him out. I think it was too much of an emotional thing. Maybe in a couple of years, but I really don't think, because I think they're taking the high road and saying, okay, you know, it was a personal issue, but we really want you back to, you know, doing the commentating and so on and so forth. I don't see them phasing him out right now.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I think at this rate, if anything, they're just going to do what they need to do to just make sure that he comes back at 100%. And if anything, Vince may sit up and say, you know what, I don't exactly need a Jerry Lawler to be in the ring, especially if, you know, he's just not really able to warm up beforehand and immediately go right into a match. You know, I definitely see him coming back, and it's going to be a phenomenal night when he does come back. Furthermore, it's definitely going to be a point where WWE, they'll have to really do a good job capitalizing on it. And as Justin Reno had said on Impact Showdown Radio this past Thursday night, you know, it's very surprising that, you know, WWE, they haven't done a 3-disc, 4-disc set on his illustrious career. Now might be that time, as he does eventually make his way back, to actually do that and really be able to capitalize off of his momentum, as Jerry Lawler is definitely a throwback. He's that last connection to Raw when it had first launched, and all of us that grew up on it, that's now in our 30s, 40s, you know, it would be, they're not going to phase them out just like that. I agree with you, Tammy, that it's going to be at least a couple of more years before they go on ahead and they just phase him out completely. You know what? Dave's been a loyal caller. He's been calling into the shows for a couple of months now, and he always has great insight. He always has a lot of cool things to say. And you know what? If we're going to do this whole fan appreciation thing and offer a cool prize and all that, I definitely think Dave should be the first candidate for that. Wouldn't you agree, Tammy?
I think so.
Okay. Well, dig around in the little stash there, and you know, let's see what can we get for Dave there.
Well, I think Dave's going to get the ECW DVD, the unreleased 3-disc set. So that actually is a really good prize, I think.
Now, is that you're holding? Is that actually a 3-disc or a 2-set?
No, it's a 3-disc set, actually.
Oh, wow. 3 discs. Dave, you got that one?
No, I don't.
You don't have that one?
No.
That'd be a good thing to add to your collection then. Yeah, I definitely would add that. WWE, they're getting ready to work on a second volume, too, because the first one's been so freaking popular there. Yeah, that's a pretty good grab. Well, let me sweeten the pot a little bit here. You know, there's that DVD, but I got Rock versus Cena Once in a Lifetime. Take your pick, Dave.
I would take Rock and Cena.
Dave, you don't sound too pleased, man. If you want us to try to, you know, give the prize to somebody else, bro.
No, I would. The ECW one is good, but I'd really love to check out the Rock and Cena.
Okay, good.
Because
all right, well,
I know the other one's on Netflix right now anyway.
Okay. Well, co-producer Tammy, won't you go on ahead? I'm going to put you and Dave in a conference call right now. Y'all be able to just talk amongst yourselves, get his shipping information and all that, and let him know how long it'll take to get it shipped out to him and all that. All right, so Dave, just hang on here. Put you in the screener here. Okay, and that's going to do it for them. Yeah, that's our way of giving back to our loyal listeners. So let's see if we can pick someone else here. Okay, so that's 2 DVD choices there. So that's your choice tonight, folks. We get you on the air here, and I'll know if you're a loyal listener. I don't forget the sound of a voice, and if you definitely let me know that you've been checking out the show, for a long period of time, I'll definitely give you the benefit of the doubt there. Let's go on ahead now, and let's see who else we got here. We got caller from the 210 area code. You're live on the air, my friend.
Hey, what's going on? This is Homie the Clown 24.
Homie. So how'd you like tonight's Night of Champions?
I thought it was a pretty good damn pay-per-view. The pay-per-view was pretty. The main event was pretty good. Told a good story. I don't know, a lot of people don't like the ending, but I thought it was a pretty good ending. It makes sense. Continues the feud. Continues CM Punk's title reign. So I enjoyed the ending. I don't know about you.
I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, I loved it. I was like, yeah, this is exactly how you do it. I mean, I already knew what was going to be happening for Cena going into this pay-per-view. I knew there was a lot at stake as, like I just said there for the little trivia buffs there, this was his 4th time doing Night of Champions where he has a 0-3 record. He's the WWE champion. They're just boosting the heck out of him being one of the longest reigning champions. And he just teamed up with Paul Heyman, so it's like, why would he lose the WWE championship now?
Yes, exactly. It was. I was pretty surprised on how that match went, and especially the moves that Cena came up with was shocking. The German suplex, the suicide dive, all that stuff. I didn't know Cena had in him. That was shocking. I also enjoyed the U.S. title match. That was pretty good, and it was nice to have some fresh commentary for once. They actually told and talked about the match instead of how Lawler and Cole usually do. They always bicker at each other and stuff like that and take away from the match. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was definitely a breath of fresh air. Yeah, it's one of those type of deals where I hope that it continues into Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, because I just think that would just really be awesome. Just let JBL keep doing his thing till Jerry Lawler can come on back, and then, like I said, maybe we could have him go to SmackDown permanently, as they definitely need all the help they can get.
Oh, yeah.
Out of a scale of 1 to 10, what would you get a pay-per-view?
I give it an 8.5.
Okay.
Thought maybe the Fatal 4-Way at the beginning was a little sloppy, but I think other than, the Sheamus ADR match, you've seen it a million times. Other than that, I thought it was a pretty good pay-per-view, 8.5.
Okay, that's good. And Homie's another guy that has been a loyal listener for us, and we definitely got to show you some love, okay? So before we go off the air here, take your pick, man, or if you have both of them, then let me know. Take your pick. You could do the ECW Unreleased Volume 1, or you could do The Rock versus Cena.
You know what? I'll do with The Rock and Cena. That would be nice. I really appreciate that.
Okay, great. Now we have co-producer Tammy. Let me see here. Let me put co-producer Tammy back on here. Hang on, homie. Let me see.
All right.
Here. Lovely Tammy. Where is the lovely Tammy? I don't see the lovely Tammy. Co-producer Tammy is nowhere in sight. Hang on. See, that's how it works, folks. You just go on ahead and you just kick back, smile, and dial. You listen to the show. You spread the good word. You tweet us out there. We'll definitely show you some love, and we'll get you guys hooked up. That's how it works. We love giving back to our loyal listeners right here. So I got Homie. I'm going to put you in screening conference right now with the lovely co-producer Tammy. Give her all your shipping address info, and she'll definitely go on ahead and she'll give you all the information that you'll need, when you can expect it, and everything like that. Definitely appreciate it right there. That's how it works, folks. If you like the show, you definitely want to spread the word to our listeners here. Co-producer Tammy. There we go. I see you now. Okay, let me put you back in there. You got all of Dave's information there?
I do.
Okay, I'm put you in screening now with Homie. Okay, Homie, put him down for the Rock versus Cena DVD. So we got 2 Rock versus Cena DVDs.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. 3 seconds, he'll be in the screening room with you here.
Okay.
All right, y'all in the screening room, go ahead, have at it. All right, so I think those of you that had checked out tonight's RCWR post show covering WWE United Champions, definitely a very solid post show. I hope y'all had a fantastic time. It was definitely an honor to cover the fallout of tonight's pay-per-view, let y'all know what all had went down. It was also very nice to get all of you involved that have been interacting with us over the past several weeks, couple of months, checking out the show. We definitely appreciate you guys. And like I said, we're getting ready to have our 100th episode coming up on October 23rd. It's going to be an awesome night as we celebrate that 100th episode. And, we just said to ourselves when we were getting ready to do this Night of Champions post show, we said, you know what, we got to give back to our listeners here because they've definitely been showing a lot of support. They've been tweeting us out there. They've been getting our names out there. And so definitely we had to recognize you guys because without you, the loyal listeners, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now. So, humbly, we definitely want to take the time out to thank you. Thank those of you that call into the show week in, week out. Check out the pay-per-view post shows. Thank those of you that always interact with us in the chat room. It's always appreciated. Of course, we also got to interact with we also got to give a mad shout-out to those of you that be checking out the shows on the downloads, as you definitely let your voices be heard, whether you check it out on iTunes, Zoom Marketplace, Stitcher. We definitely appreciate that. And you know what? I would be set on fire by our YouTube subscribers if I did not give them a major shout-out, because they have just checked out all the content that we put up, and they either let their voices be heard by commenting or they just take the time out of their busy day to actually check out the content we put up. For our YouTube subscribers, humbly, we thank you guys. As I can't say this enough, we've picked up a ton of subscribers over the past 2 weeks, and I can't even think of the names right now. That's just how many have subscribed. We definitely got to show you guys love and thank you all, as well as all of you all collectively make it possible for us to come on here, try to do our best to cover wrestling to the best of our ability. So hopefully you guys appreciate it. And that's pretty much going to do it. So like I said, we're going to be coming on this Monday night immediately following WWE Raw. We're going to cover the fallout. We're going to get you all's reactions from it. It's definitely going to be a very solid show. Conversation doesn't stop here. Be sure to check us out on InfinityOneProductions.com. Hit us up on Twitter at Infinity